Liberal leader Mark Carney paused his federal election campaign and returned to Ottawa for meetings as prime minister ahead of Donald Trump's tariff announcement. And the president's announcement happened as promised, with Mr. Trump imposing a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. He called today, quote, the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Mr. Carney has said that Canadians are facing the biggest crisis of our lifetimes as Mr. Trump tries to reshape the U.S. economy and weaken Canada. Our correspondent Wyatt Sharpe joined us earlier to discuss Mark Carney suspending his campaign for a second time.
Prime Minister and Liberal leader Mark Carney made a trip back to Ottawa to deal with some pressing issues that, of course, are also shaping the election campaign. It has a lot of people talking, especially because, oftentimes in an election campaign, despite the fact that the incumbent still has the official title of Prime Minister, usually they put that aside so that they can focus on the campaign, but also so that it doesn't kind of give them an advantage, so to speak, in the election. In recent days, as Mark Carney has been back in Ottawa for meetings with the likes of Donald Trump, as well as many other world leaders, talking about some of these tariffs and some other geopolitical implications that are likely to come from it as well. You have a lot of conservatives saying that he should be focused on the election, that he shouldn't be focused on governing because it will give him that advantage. And so again, in recent days, Mark Carney has been in Ottawa, but it's also been some of these issues that he's been talking with Donald Trump and again, some other world leaders about have been the very same issues that Pierre Poilievre has been trying to bring up on the election trail. And so you have a lot of people right now who are trying to convince Pierre Poilievre to actually talk more about the issue of Donald Trump because they feel as if he can actually come out stronger on this issue than somebody like Mark Carney, given Donald Trump's recent comments, even that he would rather see a liberal prime minister, being Mark Carney, of course, as opposed to a conservative prime minister. Donald Trump had said that because Pierre Poilievre is, quote, not a MAGA guy, he does not want him to be the leader of Canada, which is, of course, ironic because nor is Mark Carney. And so at this point, it's really looking like Donald Trump is just trying to grapple with the fact that whoever is the next prime minister of Canada, regardless of whether it is Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre, is not likely to be too complimentary towards him, and in fact is likely to perhaps combat him in a stronger way than someone like Justin Trudeau was. Of course, when Justin Trudeau was the prime minister, there was a lot of the kind of comments being made with respect to Canada becoming the 51st state. Of course, Donald Trump would refer to Justin Trudeau as Governor Trudeau, whereas just in kind of the first few days of Mark Carney being elected as the Liberal Party leader and again as prime minister, Donald Trump has been posting to Truth Social saying that he had productive meetings with, again, and he's went back to calling Mark Carney the prime minister as opposed to calling him a governor, which is, of course, something that Mark Carney has been touting on the campaign trail, that he is someone who is not only respected by Donald Trump, but someone who is respected by everyone on the global stage, which is, of course, something that, given some of these really tense state of relations right now, not just between Canada and the US, but also looking overseas as well with some other adversaries that are trying to get involved into this conversation, it's likely to play a very big role in the election campaign, all while the likes of Mark Carney and again Pierre Poilievre are trying to balance the need to talk about Donald Trump with some other issues like the cost of living, like energy production, like, the environment and climate change. And so a lot of polls even right now are beginning to kind of show that perhaps it is time to move away from talking solely about Donald Trump and solely from this being kind of the tariff Donald Trump type of election, and instead move towards talking about more of these policy issues.